everybody. On our way to the gym right now for a leg day. Had a little topic I wanted to talk about this morning. A little different than normal, but I think it's something important to talk about. So, talking about the urge to disappear, right? So, a lot of people, I would say men, I think it's usually more of a male urge, but a lot of people in general have this urge to disappear into the woods, you know, the penguin thing that's going around. So, what does this mean? Why do we want to do this? So, you know, early as I can remember seeing Dick Proenneke do his Alaska experiences. So, Dick Proenneke was a guy, if you don't know, look him up. He basically went up to Alaska, to a remote area, only accessible by plane, and he built a life there with nothing, completely off the grid. It was many years ago, and his cabin is still up to this day. You can still go see the cabin where he stayed at, that he built himself. And he took a camera with him, and he had some footage of all the time he spent out there. Really interesting to learn about, so I would recommend taking a look at it. But that's kind of the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is, you know, I've had this same urge, I've had the same feeling that I want to just, you know, disappear into the woods and, you know, go live on my own away from everything. And I just kind of wanted to talk about why we get that feeling. So it'll be a little bit of a video essay on my ideas about that subject, so bear with me. I think the first and foremost thing that comes into my mind of why we want to do that is we all have this primal need to be in a survival state. The comforts of the world that we're in now seem to throw some people off. Some people aren't as comfortable living in this comfortable life. They want more simplistic struggles, you know, just spending every day worrying about your survival, your food, keeping it simple. I guess this will kind of cross-reference another video where I said that about surviving and living life, you know, is just surviving enough. I think it's more than that, you know, if you were to go live out there like that. I think it's that need for survival that we all have, you know, that something never left us from ancient days of humans. Some of us, I believe, are more specifically made to be the more primal style of human, where we just lived a more simpler life like that. You know, we're not built for all this complexity and all this comfortability and lack of drive and lack of substance to our life. Second off, it would come from, I think the second idea of that is you would find pride in your ability to survive the way that you are. You know, you would find pride in that. You would be prideful that you were able to survive on your own out in the woods with no help, you know, off the grid, no McDonald's, no iPhone, no nothing, you know. That feeling, I think, is what gets a lot of people going on the subject, is they want to be proud of themselves for being able to do something like that. I don't think that's a big part of it, but I think deep down that's kind of the underlying idea of that, and that's why people would want to do something like that. Another case may be, and I think this one's really common, is leaving everybody to wonder, you know, leaving everybody behind, especially if you're doing it in such a way where you're saying fuck everybody and leaving everybody behind and letting them wonder what happened to you, you know, letting them wonder if you made it or not. And there's something in that thought that, you know, everybody's going to be sitting there wondering what happened to that guy, and you knowing that you're going to be out there happy, good, living life, doesn't matter what they think, you know, let them wonder. It's really an empowering feeling to think like that, and I think we could transfer that into bigger things in our life. You know, in general, I think when you leave your hometown, if you go no contact with everybody, world of wonder. They have no idea what happened to you or where you're at, and you're out there doing good. And, that's all you need is your own opinion on how you're doing out there. So ties in a little bit to other things I've said about your opinion of yourself is the only thing that matters. So let everybody else wonder, and if they do get to see you, let them have a show. With the idea of leaving everybody wondering what happened to you also comes the escape from the drama of your life. People around you are too judgmental. Your family is too overbearing. Your life fell apart. Whatever it is, you're in a world of debt. You're in whatever. Some things have gone wrong for you in such a way that you feel the need to escape, and you don't like Mexico. So where do you go? Out in the woods? Go to Alaska? Go to somewhere remote where the bill collectors can't find you, and where your shitty family can't find you, and your shitty friends can't find you. Nobody can find you. You're away from it all, away from the drama. I think that's really the big peaceful thought for everybody is, really just being away from it all, getting a break from everything, and maybe never even going back. There's another story of a guy, I'm blanking his name, I should remember it. He lived also out in the woods. They made a movie about it, and he lived in this bus that was abandoned out in the woods, which, how they got a bus out there, I don't know. Maybe they explain that in documentaries or whatever, I just don't remember. So, but multiple people have done it, and it seems like a really honorable thing to do, and we admire it so much that we think about doing it ourselves, and we wonder, is it possible? Can we make it? I think it's hard to. I think, especially in this day and age, the way that we live now, just dropping it all and going to live like that, it might throw your system off, and you might not have the skills to survive, and nature isn't what it used to be. It is in a lot of places. We have a lot of protected nature, but the animal populations are going down. There's more pollution in our world. There's more stuff coming down from the rain that has been picked up from everywhere else in the world. Nature isn't as natural as it used to be, and that might prove hard to survive off it. If you're hunting for your food, fishing for your food, you'd have to be very selective of the location where you go, because there's a lot of places where that's not as accessible. Food isn't like that, and it's harder for you to survive. I think we still can do it in this day and age, and I think it's possible. For me, it seems really daunting. I've always had that urge. I've always loved the idea, and it just seems very daunting. It seems like it would be a lot harder now in this modern age. Everything I've lived through, everything I've seen, all the comforts that I've developed, a need for. But on the other hand, something like camping, or escaping in these small bursts might be the remedy to that. You need a little bit of time here and there to get away from everything, and go somewhere with no phone, no nothing, just living, just surviving for a few days, a couple weeks. You could go camping for a month if you want. And why do we want to disappear so bad? Why do we not feel fulfilled in the lives we have here? And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at the end of this is we don't have to do what Dick Proenneke did. He's a very special case, and he did great at what he did, but that's not for all of us. We can all get very caught up on that idea that we could do that, but maybe we can't. So how else do we manage that feeling? I think in life, you got to chase something powerful for you. You got to chase something that means something to you. Put your all into a life that you really enjoy, that you can cultivate for yourself. And, get away from the things that are causing you pain and drama, and make making your life worse for you. Get away from those things that aren't enjoyable to you. We can do that. We can achieve that in our lives. We can grow to the point where we don't feel that way anymore. We're happy with where we're at, and we're comfortable with the life we've made for ourselves. It'll start in, being grateful and learning how to be comfortable with the life you have now. And that'll grow into being comfortable and confident with the fact that you can build the life you want, right? If you feel the urge to go like that, god damn, that sunset is nice. Holy shit, buddy. If you feel the urge to be that penguin, you feel the urge to be like Dick Proenneke and just leave, go off the grid. Think about if that's what you want really because you want to live off the grid and you want to be a nature man, or is it just because the weight of your life right now isn't what you want? The feelings that your life gives you right now are so bad in your mind that leaving like that would be better for you. If it's not the nature option, if it's just because you want to escape, then there's an option for you. There's a way to go. And that's by doing the stuff I'm saying in these videos, doing what I'm doing, just trying to get better for yourself, find passions that you're comfortable in doing. And, there's this misconception that when you find your passion that it's got to be the only thing you care about for the rest of your life. I'm a filmmaker, so I only make films, and that's what I'm going to do till the day I die, and I'm going to be happy in the life I have. Some of us don't feel very comfortable in that idea. Some of us don't feel very comfortable in the thought of just picking one thing and sticking with it forever, because we're diverse people. We have a lot of different hobbies and different interests, and some people are just not meant to do the same thing forever. So, when people talk about finding your passion in life, I don't believe it's so much as find your passion and stick with it forever and, find that one thing. So that's what makes it hard to understand. That's what makes that disconnect where you have trouble figuring out what your purpose is because you think you have to pick one thing. You think you have to narrow it down to exactly one subject and that's all it can be ever after that because you picked it, you're stuck with it. It's not like that. It's not that way. So, remember when you're choosing a passion, you're choosing things that drive you and what you want to chase in life, don't get too caught up in the idea that you're stuck with it if you choose it. Don't get too worried that that's the only thing you're ever going to be able to do, because it's not. I think almost especially if you find something that you're passionate about that can build you a career, once you've got that career built and you've developed some capital and some money and some, success, that gives you the freedom to choose other passions and to grow more. I think that's a big thing of the meaning of our lives is, continuing to grow like that, continuing to find new stuff that excites us and new passions that make us feel good. We're not meant to just, pick one thing. A lot of people do pick just one thing and that's it. They love that for their life. And those people I envy to a point where you can feel that strongly about one subject that it's just all you ever want to do. But I think it's different for us, and I think we have, varying interests and varying desires within ourselves from year to year, week to week even. So we've got to keep ourselves guessing. We've got to keep ourselves interested in new things. Push into a few different areas of your life and push into a few different areas of interest and feel comfortable, knowing that you're growing and that you're trying different things. And that might be what gets you going in life. That might be what makes you feel good. So, you don't have to disappear into the woods, and you don't have to run away like the penguin. But maybe you do need to get away from where you're at. Start with finding stuff you're passionate about. Don't get too picky, too choosy. Just start stepping down a direction that feels all right to you. Something that you wouldn't mind doing, and you'll find out pretty quick whether or not you like it to that extent. You'll figure out pretty quick once you hit a couple repetitions of doing that thing over and over again. You're gonna understand whether or not it's sustainable for you. You're gonna feel, I dread having to finish that task. Like, maybe that's not the career for you. Maybe that's not the big purpose for you. It could be a hobby, but you're not gonna know until you start trying stuff. You're not gonna know what's down the path until you go for a little walk. You don't need a lot to get into your passions. I've been a person who's struggled with the idea of, if I want to try a new thing, well, I've got to buy all the best things for it, and I've got to do everything I can for it, and that's just not the truth. You can do a lot of stuff with very simple equipment, very simple things, especially when it comes to creating media, creating music, creating content on YouTube, on TikTok, whatever. Most of the time, you have everything you need sitting right in front of you, probably in your hand right now as you're watching this. You have what you need. It's here. You have the device. Usually, most of these phones nowadays have cameras that are better quality than anything that movies were being made on back in, the 80s, 90s, and people ate that shit up. People ate movies up in the fucking early 1900s, back when it was no sound and it was black and white and the grainiest picture quality. People watched it. So, don't worry too much about the quality or the all the perfection of it all. You don't need all the best stuff, and you don't need all the best knowledge to do something. Just start doing it. Start taking steps down that path. That's what I'm doing here. I'm not a professional YouTuber yet. I haven't done it for years. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But I make a video, do a little editing, put it together, make it nice for me, post it. And don't be afraid to watch your stuff back, and really try to look at it from a perspective of outside. Understand if it's enjoyable, but it's a different topic. This isn't a YouTube tutorial, but just start doing the thing you want to do. If you want to make music, there's what is that little? It's a little game. I think Jacksepticeye played it, and I think a few other people did on YouTube. You can watch Let's Plays of it. It's that little game where there's the line of little guys, and they all make different sounds, and you can click on them and make a beat with it. If you like making music, you can go as simple as that. You're not going to get a record deal off of that thing, but you can start to put together in your mind how it feels to put a song together, how it feels to arrange beats with each other to make something enjoyable to listen to. And you'll feel pretty quickly, does that spark something in you? Do you feel the drive from that? Why are you stopping? It's a green light. You'll feel pretty quick if doing something like that sparks a feeling in you that makes you feel excited, makes you really driven to do it. You may find out when you start doing it that, I'm not as good at making music as I thought. I can't figure out how to put a beat together. Then do a little learning. YouTube's free. There's a lot of content out there to just kind of understand basic music construction and how beats are built. What layers in to make a certain type of beat. Just do a little bit of learning. Don't take too long. Don't spend too long trying to prepare, trying to put it all together, trying to make it so perfect. Just watch a little video, watch even half the video, just get the idea, and then go try it, go do it. Don't waste too long in that preparation stage, because that's when you're going to start overthinking. That's when you're going to start telling yourself, I don't know if I can do this seems like too much. It's only too much if you make it too much in your own mind. You can do any task you want to do as simply or as complexly. That's not a word. You can do any task as simply or as complex as you want to do. So start simple. Start at the bare bones basics with minimal knowledge, and just start taking steps at it. Just try it. There's a scene in a movie that rings in my head in this moment. A girl's trying to write a paper, or write write an article, and she's struggling, and she's, you know, about ready to throw her laptop, and her friend comes up and says, well, have you written the first draft yet? And she says, well, no. And she says, well, quit trying to make it perfect, just make it exist. You know, don't quit trying so hard to make it exactly how it should be, and just make the thing exist to start off with. We can get so caught up in trying, if we're trying creative avenues and trying creative routes, we want to do it as perfect as we can. You know, if we want to make music, we want to be the best at making music, and we want to make tons of money, and we want to be super famous, and we want to be known as the absolute best at that thing. But I don't think that's really the way we should go when we're starting off with something like that. We got to start off as simple as make it bad first. You know, even if it's terrible, just make something. And once you've done a couple reps of that, of just making the thing, then you can watch back, look at it, take notes of what you think is bad or good about it. You can watch back a video of yourself and realize how many times you say how many times you stutter. So then you can take, you know, time to start learning how to do better with that. And person got another car next to me. I feel a little self-conscious. Okay, so, but you know, start somewhere. Make a first draft, start doing something, and then look back at it and start deciding what was good about it, what was bad about it. Even if the whole thing was bad, make another draft. Try it a different way. Just, you know, keep doing something. So we've kind of jumped around on topics on this. Gonna reel it back in a little bit. Just get to the point. You don't have to disappear. You don't have to be Dick Proenneke. You can disappear in your life in a certain way. You can get away from the people that you're around. You can go to the place you want to go and get away from everything. But try to remember how much of it is your need to just escape because you think the grass is greener on the other side, or how much of it can be, you know, how much of that feeling can be pushed away by finding something you're passionate about. You know, maybe you want to run so bad to another place because you want to feel something. You want to feel that passion for something. Maybe it's not as far away as you think. Maybe the passion that you feel towards something is right in front of you, and you just gotta take a step towards it. And that will carry you into traveling and going to the places you want to go and building that life you want to build. Just remember when you fart. Just remember when you fart. I can't fucking do this shit. Alright, just remember when you start feeling like you want to be the penguin. Remember why. You know, and remember, you don't have to disappear to get away from the mentality of the people around you. You know, you can keep a more private, intimate world for yourself in your head, and you can start to feel more comfortable in your life that you're living if you just spend more time with yourself and spend more time getting comfortable with yourself and forgetting everybody else. You know, separate yourself from everybody else, and don't, if you don't like the way that people are making you feel, step back. You know, step away. Don't let them into your energy as much as they are. It may be hard. You may have overbearing parents. You may have people that are, you know, really overbearing into your energy, and it feels like it's impossible to escape it. But I promise it's not. You know, the more you can cultivate your own private, intimate world for yourself, the more you can start to feel comfortable in your skin and start to feel comfortable with that confidence to push away what's not for you and attract what is for you. I'm gonna wrap that up there. Got a little off topic, but I think everything's on topic because, you know, there's no rules to this video. There's no rules to any of these. Just talking about stuff that comes to the mind, talking about what I feel about that subject. So, yeah, we'll just kind of wrap that up there. I think you got the message for the most part. We're heading into the gym in a few minutes here. I forgot to drink my pre-workout again. But we'll be heading into the gym here. It is a leg day. I have a love-hate relationship with leg day. I think most people do. You know, it's something primal about it, something powerful about, you know, really ripping some good sets with legs, and can make you feel really good after. But it's like the Sunday scaries before you go in. You know, you get a little too in your head about what's about to happen, and you know how painful it might be, but you just gotta go do it. You gotta get into it. We aren't trying to have chicken legs around here. We're trying to keep a proportional build, so gotta get in, gotta hit those legs. I think it's good for you. It's good for your mental state. So we're gonna start off, probably do a little bit of leg extension just to warm up the quads, and then I think I'm gonna go on to the, is it a pendulum squat? It's not a hack squat. Hack squat's the one that slides. I think it's a pendulum squat. We're gonna go on to there and try to hit a few light sets, and I really want to just get comfortable with the motion on it. Last time I was on it, I pushed a little more weight than I think I should have, and I didn't feel too comfortable. I didn't feel too safe. When I was really pushing on some of the reps, you know, I didn't feel like my bracing was tight enough in my core, and I didn't feel like I really was all around strong enough to be pushing like that without hurting myself. So we're gonna go a good bit lighter on that today, and just really try to get a lot of good reps and really feel that full motion, squeeze all the muscles involved, and start really building up a good foundation so that we can have a good heavy squatting in the future. And then we'll finish off with some straight sets of hamstring curls, leg extensions, and abductors and adductors. Abductors and adductors. I can't remember which is which, but so we'll do that. So yeah, pendulum squat, some hamstring curls, leg extensions, abductors, adductors, and that'll be about it for the day. Probably try to hit abs if I feel like it. After leg day, sometimes it's a little hard. You know, you don't have a lot of energy left after a leg day sometimes. A lot more muscles being used up, a lot more glycogen, a lot more carbs being used up. So try to slow down on all the talking about the ins and outs of my gym going. You know, there's other people out there that are making videos for that. I don't think that's my thing exactly, but we'll see what sticks with us. But I just like to explain what I have going on, because, you know, a lot of people tend to be interested in what people are doing in the gym, and they're always asking people, and people seem like they're gatekeeping the information. Like, it's so hard for them to just simply describe what they've been doing in the gym and, you know, kind of why they do what they do. So I'd prefer to be more open about it and just take 5-10 minutes in this video and just explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Yeah, I mean, I think I'll see you in the car after, and we're gonna get this leg day going. Hello, y'all. Just got back in the car. I feel fucking abused. Holy shit. I haven't hit legs like that in a fucking while. Super pumped. I can barely walk. My fucking abs are shredded. Obliques are shredded too. Got a little pump check of just the abs. I forgot to film for the legs, so we'll have that in there. Not looking too crazy yet on the abs. We're starting to see some shape, but still a little too much fat there to see them clearly. So keep on the cut, and we'll get there soon. So yeah, let's pull out of here and run a little recap of what we did there. So went in, warmed up with a couple of really light, well, not even a set of really light leg extensions, just to warm the quads up, and then onto the pendulum squat. We actually did put a little bit of weight on there, more than I was expecting. It felt good on the first light set, so I just kept it going. Over to to hamstring curls. Hit some good heavy sets there. You know, I haven't been able to hit hamstring curls without feeling a little bit of pressure on the tendons and stuff. This was the first time I was able to really throw some weight, and it just felt strong. It felt like good, strong squeeze, so good with that. Over to leg extensions, hammered some sets of those out. I get pretty abusive on the leg extensions, I'll be honest, so we'll keep doing that like that. Then did some oblique crunches on the, what do you call that thing? The something chair, the thing where you do the lower back raises. Go on your side and you hit the obliques. Did a few sets of those. Over to the big ab crunch machine and hit a couple sets of obliques either side there, and then hit a couple sets of straight crunches. That felt really good. With abs, I tended to do a little more lightweight, a lot of reps. That time it was a little more heavy and just a good 5 to 8 reps, really hard squeeze. Thinking that might be a little better for the ab growth. We'll see how that pans out. And yeah, that was about it, man. Finished off at the end there, and I felt like I was gonna fucking puke. Again, I mean, last day I did abs, I said the same thing. I think I hit them a little too hard and a little too quick in succession, but I mean, that's how you grow, right? So, you know, after doing this so many times, maybe, you know, I'll be able to hit them with that intensity and not have that nauseous feeling. We're working out fasted today, not by intention, but by the fact that I forgot to eat something. So, you know, not much else to say there. Yeah, I mean, what else can we say? Skipped cardio today. I mean, feeling nauseous like that. I really did not feel like hopping on the treadmill, I'll be honest. So, skipped cardio today. Other than that, I mean, that pre-car talk was long enough. I don't think I need to add too much to it, so we'll try to close out the end of this video pretty quickly here. And yeah, not much else to say, guys. I mean,